Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. We are live. MFSN The Hubs. It's time for our waiver wire for baseball. I am here as always with Casey Scheinvold, Vlad to the Bone, and Ross the Boss.
Hey everybody, I'm Ross the Boss, and I want to talk fantasy waiver wire baseball with you, cowboy. God, talking about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. What a game yesterday, Casey. Congratulations.
I know. I own him on every team. My team
You're
name's the same.
unbelievable. I thought about
what.
you. Instead of thinking about Vlad, his dad or him or the guy who hit the 3 home runs, I'm thinking about Casey Scheinfold because I know you're such a huge fan.
Well, look at what shirt he's wearing.
I'm sporting his dad's team.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he was drafted out of Cuba. Correct.
That's right. Now, let's review the rules, guys. We're doing 60% and under in Yahoo leagues. Plenty of leagues out there with all kinds of different kinds, but we look at Yahoo as kind of the aggregate. 60% and below, we're going to look at each category, each position, and we're going to each nominate some names in there. Now, I should say, this is the first time we are live on Instagram. So hello, Instagram. Hello, world. Now, we're going to start with catchers. And as always, not as always, but I'm going to do this just for you, Ross. We're going to start with you so you don't yell at me. Okay, Give me a catcher that's one of your best ones, 60%.
So my number one pick, it's the same from last week because no one picked him up after I said, pick this guy up. He's been crushing the ball. It's Omar Narvaez of the Milwaukee Brewers. 379 he's hitting. That's better than Casey Scheinfeld's son in Little League. It's unbelievable.
It's close.
And he has 3 home runs and 11 RBIs, 50 at-bats. He's playing a lot. He's hitting 379. I don't think he'll keep it up. But, again, he's definitely a top 5 catcher right now in plate appearances. Batting average has to be, and he's not going to hurt you. So if your catcher's not playing well or he's not one of those top-tier catchers, drop whoever you have, pick him up immediately.
I think it's a great pickup. I mean, he's my number one pickup at catcher too. But, Casey, who do you have? If you can't get Narvaez, who do you get?
I like him a lot, and I had him as number one. I'm going to list somebody who's not put up statistics yet, but the Yankees just announced he's going to start getting a lot more playing time, and that's Kyle Higashioka. He is Gary Sanchez's backup typically, but anybody who's followed fantasy baseball, the Yankees, or just baseball in general the past 2 years know that Gary Sanchez is not able to hit the ball currently. And so they're going with Higashioka, and in that lineup, I just think there's a lot of potential there. You could do a lot worse for him. He's going to give you some sneaky pop. He'll put up his, low average like most catchers, but it's somebody I would look into as a very deep, especially if you're in a 2-catcher league.
I love that you said Gary Sanchez can't hit the ball currently. That's a statement that people could say for a long time at this point with his batting average. What did he bat last year? 154?
It was like a COVID year. They played 60 games.
The year before he batted like 180. So it's not like it's...
you. I like Gary Sanchez.
I mean,
I do too.
Listen, no, I like Gary Sanchez, but he's giving the Mendoza line a bad name.
He is.
Okay, last year doesn't count.
He's given the crack in a bad name. That was his nickname from when he was good. And now all of a sudden it's like a moniker of doom.
Okay, now I'm going to name 2 catchers who have eligibility at other positions, so they could be particularly useful. Dalton Varshall, we've mentioned him before, but he just got recalled. Did you know that?
I saw that today.
I did not know that.
Just happened. You got to go grab him, guys. If you are in a league that allows free agent ads right now, add him now because he's got catcher eligibility, but he's playing in other positions. Willens Astudio. I think I said that right. Willens Astudio.
Willens. What are you talking about, Willens?
What are you talking about, Willens?
The greatest physique in baseball.
I don't know. What is his physique? It seems like he's like
5 foot. He's like Kung Fu Panda, but only 5'4", and he's got great hair.
Oh, he's 5'4"? All right, you have to add him to that.
I'm guessing on his height, but he doesn't look that tall.
Now, okay. Before we move to first base, is there any catchers that we missed?
There's one you missed. I mean, he had 2 home runs actually today. Is Mitch Garver. I know he's hitting like 160.
Is he still below 60% owned?
Yeah, he's below 60% owned. He's not hitting his weight, but you know what? He's been coming up. He's been hanging the ball lately. And remember a few years ago you had him, Case, on your league, and he's somebody. If he gets back to his form, he's a top 5 catcher, and he's available. And he had 2 home runs today.
I think it's a good call, Ross. I appreciate that. We're going to move to first base, but before we do, I'm going to remind everybody out there, if you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below, and we'll answer you personally. Now, of course, if you're not on YouTube, you can't click subscribe there, but you could hit the link for liking us on Instagram and becoming a follower. So just follow us, guys. You will learn a lot from us. We're going to go to first base. Casey, we're going to start with you.
Actually, first base was my top player on the waiver wire this week, and it's CJ Crone in Colorado. And anybody who has followed us at all knows we love Colorado offensive players. They always seem to get a little bit of a boost in their performance. And in the last 2 weeks, he's batting over 360 with 4 home runs. He was a big sleeper pick. We mentioned him in our preseason preview about first baseman that could be sneaky good, and he's delivering on that right now. So he's my number one ad, actually, and he's a first baseman.
Ross, I'm going to jump in before you on this one. And, I'm going to not put myself last every time. At first base, my guy is still Jesus Aguilar. We've got a lot of great Hispanic names to say tonight. Jesus Aguilar, he has 19 RBIs, and he's batting .293. He's got 11 runs, 4 homers. The guy is, he's not a stud, but he's a guy who you can really fill in very nicely. He ranks 81st in all players in Yahoo right now, and we're almost a month in. He is a great ad. He's only 42% owned. Ross, what say you?
I have I mentioned his name last week, Joey Votto, but this is the little asterisk next to Joey Votto. You'll only start him in Cincinnati. You don't start him away. So if he's playing in Chicago, if he's playing in Atlanta, wherever he's playing, you don't start. But the 81 games he's playing in Cincinnati, you start him. He's been killing the ball at home.
So he's kind of like a streaker.
He's a streaker. So the Reds are at home starting Friday against the Cubs, and guess who's going to be at that game? Ross the Boss. So that being said, Joey Votto, pick him up. If the Reds have a big homestand, they're home for a week, pick him up. He's a streaker. Listen,
I want to make sure everybody understands this. Ross is fully vaccinated. He can go to that game. It's totally safe. Besides, he went to the World Series. I mean, he wasn't vaccinated because there were no vaccines then, but man, he went. All right. Now, listen, you also said it's kind of like split stats, guys. You can find guys who are valuable like half the time, like a Mitch Moreland. He hits righties great.
Great.
So, your guy, Joey Votto, he hits well in Cincinnati.
That's it.
Beyond there, no.
Don't start him anywhere else.
Okay, I'm also just going to mention one guy. You guys know who Pavin Smith is?
Pavin Smith.
Yeah, he hit a leadoff home run the other day.
Yeah, we know Pavin Smith. You really seriously want to pick him up?
Well, listen, he was a pretty highly touted prospect last year.
But that's minor league baseball. Casey Scheinfeld can hit those balls in minor leagues. Come on. Pavin Smith can't hold anything to any of these guys we're talking about. Pavin Smith.
Wait, are you saying Pavin Smith can't hold a candle to Joey Votto, who can only hit in one park? I mean,
tell me about Pavin Smith. I'm not familiar with him that much. Please tell us.
All right. Well, last year,
just having fun with you.
In limited play, only in 12 games, he walked 5 times and struck out 8 times. He could be an elite batting.
What's he hitting? I don't care about walks and strikeouts.
He's hitting .271. Walks and strikeouts are going to tell you.
Okay. What team does he play for?
He plays for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So you should know this. You're an Arizona State guy. Come on, Ross.
Pavin Smith. I love the name, though. It's a great name, Pavin.
It is a great name. So listen, let's Casey, anybody from first base we missed that you need?
The only other one I would consider at this point, and it's because his team is playing well and he seems to be putting up good numbers, is Brandon Belt in San Francisco. On the past couple of weeks, he's hit 3 home runs, driven in 7 runs. He's batting over 250. He even swiped a bag, although you certainly don't count on Brandon Belt to run for you. But he's another guy who first base and outfield qualification, who can get hot and be a streaker that you can carry for weeks at a time.
I love that we are now fully calling
I'm just invested.
That's what we call them on MFSN.
Keep on saying it'll catch on someday.
It's true. We're going streaking. We're going to go to second base. We're going to go to second base, Frank the Tank. We're going with Ross the Boss. Frank the Tank and Ross the Boss, they meet up for streaking at second base. Who do you have that is...
Who's on first?
60% owned.
Oh, are we at second base now?
We're at second base.
So I like a couple guys. I'll give you one guy who just came off the DL is Colton Wong. He's hitting like 333. If you look at his stats, he's like the past 4 games in a row, he's getting like 2 hits a game. He's like destroying the ball. And if you need somebody who's going to hit for batting average, he's not going to hit that many home runs, but he's going to get on base. He'll get some stolen bases. But Colton's been destroying the ball lately, and he's getting on. He's hitting great, and he's my number 1 second baseman for this week.
Wait, listen, before we go further, and I have comments on Colton Wong. Party Marty's saying hi to us on Instagram. Party Marty, we've missed you. It's good to see you, buddy. Ask us any baseball-related questions. I understand in your mind that means you're going to ask a hockey question, which is fine. Okay, let's keep going. Casey, I'll let you talk about second base yet.
No, talk about Colton Wong. You said Colton Wong.
Make your
patience. I was about to do
it.
Oh, my God. The tipper on this guy. All right, listen. Colton Wong, listen, Ross said he's going to hit for average. And what he means by hit for average is that it will be somewhere between 0 and 271.
He's hitting 330. He's hitting 333 right now. Just so
that's not going to last. And meanwhile, guess how many RBIs he has? 2 RBIs.
Yeah, he's been on the DL.
Colton Wong, I've been burned by him in the past because I always see him as a power speed threat at second base. And so I've fallen for that trap before. The other issue is, you're right, he just came off the DL, and I wonder how many games he's played on average the last 3 or 4 years because he always battles injuries. And so I agree with you that when he's hot, you can streak him. I couldn't think of another way to say it. But be prepared to have to drop him when he gets hurt again.
Don't mess with the Wongs. You guys know what the movie that's from? Don't mess with the Wong. Ever see The Wanderers? It's from the movie called The Wanderers.
No,
I don't remember it.
Classic. You guys have to watch it. Keep going.
All right. Now, Jonathan India, 32% owned. I still think this guy has more upside than any of the guys below.
I know, but
60%.
Dan, let's stop at India. I'm a big Reds fan. I love Jonathan India. I think he's great, but his average is down to 231 right now. He's been in a horrible downswing. I can't get behind him right now.
But in a keeper or dynasty league,
of course, he's 21.
Well, in dynasty, there's no question. Even in keeper league, he's worth having. Yeah. But I would say Jonathan India is a guy that you need to scoop up now because he's going to start hitting. He's going to figure it out, and he's going to figure it out sometime around June. So I'm not saying to play him now. Scoop him up, get ready to trade, your Kyle Seagers or even your Justin Turners, and plug him in at third base. Or in this case, second base. Second base even better. All right, guys, let's move to shortstop.
One more at second base. Gavin
I got
Lux.
a couple too there.
Oh, sorry.
Gavin Lux just got off the DL. I know he's hitting 204. Maybe it's a little better now. I saw him get a hit for the Dodgers today, actually. But he's going to be the regular second baseman, and that lineup is potent. You may want to just pick him up and stash him somewhere and see what happens. But Gavin Lux is available in like 82% of the leagues.
I'm going to echo Gavin Lux is better than Jonathan India.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with Gavin Lux. I think after railing against or ranting against Jonathan India because of his numbers, it's hard to then say, but pick up Gavin Lux because they're both talented prospects who haven't delivered yet. But we'll deal with Ross's hypocrisy later. The 2 second basemen I want to talk about are one we mentioned last week. Kike Hernandez is still playing well in Boston, and Boston's offense is humming. So that's a good one. And Nick Madrigal is still under 60% owned.
I like him too.
He hasn't started running yet. We know he's still batting for a great average, and he's going to score a lot of runs. And this is another young player who's only going to get better. So he's another one I would consider adding if he's available in your league.
I'm just realizing that I'm feeling it in my blood today. I want to have an "I told you so" segment. Okay.
Ooh.
And so this we'll do that in the middle of the show. The "I told you so" segment, we'll also call it the Ian Happ show. I told everybody the guy cannot hit. He strikes out all the time.
It's April. Keep going. It doesn't.
Ian Happ is batting 139.
But look at his career. He's not going to hit 139 just keep going.
You're right. He's going to hit 211.
I can't argue with this.
He's going to hit 211. Okay, let's go with shortstops. We'll get back to the "I told you so" segment. Casey, you start us off at shortstop, and meanwhile, I'm going to check what Ian Happ's averages are. I'm not letting this go.
Shortstops to me were one of the thinner positions on the waiver wire, so I was kind of grasping at straws. I'm going to bring up Paul DeYoung again. I mentioned him, I think, last week. He hasn't been tearing the cover off the ball average-wise, but he's still getting the ball out of the park, and he's got some RBIs. He's one you can pick up if you're struggling at shortstop, which some people are. And another one is Freddie Galvez in Baltimore. He qualifies at both second and short. He's going to run for you. He's going to hit for some average. Right now, in the past 2 weeks, he's been batting over 370, scoring some runs. He's knocked a couple balls out of the park. So you could do a lot worse at shortstop with Freddie Galvez as well.
Ross, what do you have to say as a follow-up?
I have to say I have 2 speedsters. These guys will not hit home runs. They're not going to have a ton of RBIs, but they will have runs and stolen bases for you, which is a hard category now in Major League Baseball because no one likes to steal bases anymore. It's all about the long ball. You know why, Case? chicks love the long ball. That's why they hit the home runs. So I have two guys, Miguel Rojas, and Rojas is the shortstop for the Florida Marlins. And he has 3 stolen bases. He's hitting like 260, 263. He's hitting okay. Not bad. But he will get you stolen bases and he will score runs for you. So Miguel Rojas, if you need a stolen bases, and I know a lot of teams don't look at stolen bases. Oh, I don't need that guy. Yes, you do. It means just as much as RBIs or home runs. You need stolen bases. And a guy, I see him every week. I feel like, I don't know why I bring him up, but no one picks him up. Is Simenas from Minnesota. That's the shortstop from Minnesota. Simenas. I don't know why no one picks him up. He's going to hit like 280, 290, and he'll have like 20, 30 stolen bases. He's a speedster too. And I know he's been hurt, but he's back. But those two guys are the only shortstops I really felt that was under 60% worth picking up.
Okay, well, I've still got Andres Jimenez or Jimenez.
Andres Jimenez. Baseball has been very, very good to me.
Yeah, this guy, he's batting 192, so I go for some players who are hitting under 200 sometimes.
Okay, again, it's a law of averages. Casey knows this, and you know this too. These guys, if they have a bad April, when does April end? Tell me, I forgot. It ends Saturday, same day as the Kentucky Derby, which you can watch
very quickly.
Our preview show on our channel, which we talked about the Kentucky Derby. I would suggest you watch it if you want to make money. It's unbelievable.
It's really true. Listen, Casey, I was there. Ross and this guy Al Martin were talking complete gibberish. I had no idea what they meant.
No idea. But we gave winners. We know what we were talking about. It was fun. But with baseball, we had the law of averages. If somebody's not hitting that great, maybe we'll talk about it later. But keep going.
All right. Well, one of the reasons Jimenez is a good pickup is he's going to steal bases. If you're going to pick up a guy who's iffy, pick up a guy who's at least going to steal some bases.
He's good.
Jonathan Villar, another guy like that. Miles Straw, another guy like that.
Fast.
And Rojas is another. So I really like that. I'm still all over Wander Franco as a. I just read Bobby Witt, because the minor leagues are starting next week. He's going to go to Arkansas Double.
He's starting in Double-A, but they still expect him up.
I already made my flight reservations to go check him out. I'm sure Casey doesn't care that much. But
guys, we have a comment. We have a comment coming in.
Who is it?
Matthew Maderos says, "What's up, guys?" So Matthew, we're doing well. How are you? Let's hear more from you. We want to have a conversation.
That's all he said. That's his thing?
Ross, come on. He just started. When someoone's friendly, you say hi.
Matthew Maderos.
This is a sports show. We have to do social stories with Ross.
Fantasy baseball question.
Now he's got a question, Ross. You could have driven him away.
Maderos, so
why is Ross such a jerk?
Listen, Matthew, don't pay any attention to Ross here. Okay. He asks, what are your thoughts on David Peralta? Well, I'm going to answer this first because I scooped him up in both of my leagues.
That's one of Daniel's favorites.
David Peralta is perennially underrated. David Perennial is what his name should be. He's always underrated. This guy hits 300. He's going to hit 25 homers, probably 90 RBIs, something like that. He's not going to hurt you in any category. He's a perfect pickup. So that's my answer to you. Guys, what do you say about David Peralta?
Agree.
You can agree with me or be wrong.
Agree.
I'm a big fan of Peralta. Obviously, I don't know if he's a number 1 or number 2 outfielder on your roster, but he's definitely a great 3 or an injury replacement for somebody like me who has Christian Yelich. That's just killing my roster on the injured list. Peralta, Arizona's a great place to hit. So he's done it before.
I think he's a great 3. I think he's a great 3. Yeah. All right, let's move to third base, and then we're going to go to the I Told You So segment. I can't wait. Third base, 60% and under. Ross, we're starting with you. Oh, I know who my number 1 is.
I was torn between 3 people. I'm going to take, I thought this guy's career was washed up. And I talked about it before. And he's still killing the ball. I mean, it's like, he came up with Tampa Bay. He had his best golden years at Tampa Bay. His best years. Now he's in San Francisco. Evan Liguria, he's still hitting over 300. He has 4 home runs, 12 RBIs. He's been destroying the ball in San Francisco, who's probably the most surprising team in the National League. I believe they're like in second place. They're playing unbelievable. But long story short, Evan Liguria, he might keep it up. Case, what do you think?
Wow.
That was a long pause.
Whether he can keep that's a long season. As a former Longoria owner for several years in keeper leagues, he gets hurt a lot. So my question has never been his talent. When he's healthy, he's always been able to put the barrel to the ball. The question is, he's had a bad back for a number of years, and he's getting up there in age, and the wear and tear of 162. If he plays more than 120 games, I'll be really impressed.
Listen, I'm going to say something. It's really going to piss Ross off.
What is it?
About
Tell
strikeouts
me.
and walks again. Listen, Evan Longoria has walked 10 times and only struck out 14 times. It's possible that this guy has made an adjustment, and that means his batting average could actually stay up there. If you start to see that flag, he's going to go back down to 254 again, where he always is.
Yeah, I know.
But just pay attention to that. Okay, other third base candidates. I don't know how Kyle Seager is only 59% owned. By the end of this show,
he's barely made it. I mean, let's not joke.
He's 59% owned. He has 20 RBIs in less than a month. I mean, he is killing the ball, and he's batting 258. The guy is gonna hit those power numbers. He could bat 230, but at least I know what I'm getting.
I'd rather have his brother.
There's also, I think we'd all rather have Corey Seager at this point. But there's also Colin Moran, who I mentioned last week. I know Dan's not a huge fan, but
Colin Moran? Moran? Okay, right. I thought it's Moron. Okay, got it. Thank you.
His numbers haven't dipped that much. He's batting cleanup or 3 in the Pittsburgh lineup, which is suddenly a team that's one game over 500 guys. We all peg them for 100 losses. And then also JD Davis. Defense doesn't count in fantasy, at least not in any of the leagues I'm in. And so JD Davis at third base, he can still hit, even if he's going to make 2 to 3 throwing errors, it feels like every night. He's going to give you power. He's going to give you some average. He's in a potent lineup that when it's clicking, he'll score some runs. So those are another 2 third basemen I would look at.
All right. Matthew Madero says Longoria is washed up. I think that Ross and Matthew Madero might end up outside in an alley.
Fisticuffs.
But Matthew,
first of all,
I'm
rooting for Longoria to have a great season. I like the guy. He's actually a class act.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I asked after I gave my little statement, I said, Case, what's your opinion? Because I'm not sold on it. But if I was streaking, I needed a streaker, he would be on my list.
I think that's good. I totally understand.
And I mean, Maikel Franco, his numbers are solid. If you need a third baseman, it's going to be, he could have 30 home runs this year. I mean, the guy can hit home runs.
Notice my face on the Maikel
Franco.
Right, guys,
let's go into the I told you so segment. Okay. Because Ian Happ does qualify at third base. So I'm going to say I told you so. Actually, there was a commenter on MFSN who was like, I can't believe you didn't pick Ian Happ as an outfielder. I was like, I wouldn't pick him as a second baseman, let alone as an outfielder. And this is an I told you so segment. I told you so. Casey, who do you have in the I told you so department?
Well, the one I mentioned earlier today, I picked CJ Crone as a sleeper preseason for first base. I think he's done well. I'm gonna take Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as an I told you so. I've owned him now for 2 years. I've held on to him when other people have
3,
said.
I think.
Yeah, 3 years.
You owned him for a whole year. Yeah.
I've held on to him when people were questioning whether he'll ever get his launch angle up, and he's done that well. So those are 2 of them. I want to point out one of your I told you so's, which was you said Francisco Lindor was going to struggle in his transition to the Mets, and I know you're a big Lindor fan, and right now he is in the bottom 40 of offensive producers in Major League Baseball. So that was a good call by you as well.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Ross, how about you? I have another I told you so, but I'll get to that.
Somebody that bounced back, and he had a bad year last year. And in our baseball show we did, our preview show, I said JD Martinez is going to bounce back this year, and he's going to be a great year. And JD is proving me right, because he is killing the ball in Boston. Boston has the best team average. I think it's almost over 300. And JD's been leading the charge. I mean, he is on fire, and everybody thought his career was over. It's not over. He's back. Welcome back, JD. And this guy for the Angels, Mike Trout, did I say it right? He's okay. You guys both said he was over and he was done. And I said, let's give him one more year. And I think Mike Trout at least has one more year in him. What do you guys think?
I love that Ross brings the propaganda sometimes.
Yes.
We never say that stuff.
I want to point out that in Ross's league that we're in, I had the number 8 pick, and somehow both of you picked before me, and Ronald Acuna made it to me at number 8. So in some ways that's
a great one.
So of a different.
You know what?
No, I'm on his bandwagon, and he's tremendous talent.
Now this is interesting. That's an I told you so where I actually got myself into trouble, because Sam Jacobowitz, he was like, oh, Juan Soto is so much better than Acuna. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I did. How's that working out for me?
I say thank you, Sam.
I was right.
Guys, it's only April. Juan Soto's going to be great.
He'll be fine, but Acuna's going to be the best.
I never seen a guy tag up from third base on a pop-up to second base. I never seen that before.
Unbelievable. Now, one more I told you so is Jared Walsh. He was a first base.
Oh, I love that kid.
Ion. And there were some people who were like, oh, he's never done that well. And I'm like, did you look at his numbers?
Oh.
I like how you become a Muppet when you're
I love the Muppet impression's great. Jared Walsh. I mean, last year I loved him. I mean, I think the guy is a tremendous player. He's a future All-Star.
Okay, now Matthew Madera's totally agreeing with you, Casey. Acuna was his first pick too. Great pick at 8. I agree. And by the way, Matthew, if you haven't clicked subscribe already, do us a favor. Do that. We want to see you back here. Now, we're going to go to outfield now, but before we do, I'm going to say the best Muppets imitation ever is Eric Stoltz. You got to check it out. Google Eric Stoltz Muppet imitation. You will not be sorry. We're going to outfield. We're going to go to you first, Ross. Outfielders 60% and under.
You know, I'm picking an outfielder that's available in 99% of the leagues. 99%. You're saying
that's a lot.
Ross, who the hell? So this guy's 1% owned. Yeah, he is 1% owned. His name's Tyron Taylor. He plays the Milwaukee Brewers. He's been starting 3 out of the 4 games. He's been starting right field. He's hitting .433. He's has 3 home runs this week alone. I mean, he's been killing the ball. I think the Brewers will have to find a spot for this guy when Yelich comes back. I don't know what they're going to do, but meanwhile, great streaker. Pick him up. Enjoy the ride.
Casey?
I'm gonna name 2. One is a former top prospect of several years ago, who I've been on the bandwagon before and been heartbroken. I think Dan was part of that bandwagon once and got heartbroken, and that's Gregory Polanco in Pittsburgh. He came out of the Pittsburgh farm system as a can't miss outfielder, as part of that McCutchen, Marte, and then Polanco were supposed to be like, the Bonds, Bonilla, and Van Slyke of the early 90s. And he struggled with injuries frequently, and he's a power speed guy. And it seems to be right now he's healthy and he's putting those numbers up. And so that's one. And the other one is for the Texas Rangers, Adolis Garcia, who, by the way, I saw him interviewed on MLB Network the other day, and he's got like the biggest biceps I've ever seen. He's just this gargantuan man who is just crushing the ball. In the last 2 weeks, he's got 5 home runs, 13 RBIs, a stolen base. He's batting .250. Those numbers put him as a top 20 player in the league in the last 2 weeks.
All right. My guy at the top is Adam Eaton. And there's a couple of reasons why you want to get him. And especially if you're playing in head-to-head, scoop Adam Eaton up right now. Is he going to get injured? Yes, of course. Adam Eaton always gets injured. But you scoop him up. You play him for 3, 4, 5 great weeks. And look, who knows? Maybe he puts it together and he can actually hold that value the entire time. I think he is a great, great pickup in outfield. All right, guys, who else are we missing in outfield that we think is going to make a splash? And remember, let's keep in mind, it could be those prospects or guys that are not hitting well that we know are going to rebound. I will say David Peralta was on my list for this too, but Matthew beat me to it.
Yeah.
All right, who else?
Justin Upton has been hitting the ball well lately. He's a very streaky player, so he's easy to play as a streaker. I think Dan and I have both owned him in the past and hated owning him, but that doesn't mean that he can't help your team when he's playing well. There's also Brian Reynolds in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's offense is playing really well right now, and Brian Reynolds has always been able to hit.
Brian Reynolds.
Brian.
Okay,
Brian, not Green Lantern.
Not Dead.
Oh, it's the Green Lantern. Excuse me. Okay, Brian Reynolds. I like that kid.
By the way, Jared Kelenic, I think he's on the way up soon.
Well, I read something that he was on the shelf with a non-COVID illness, so I don't know what that means.
Doesn't sound very threatening. I mean, COVID is like the top illness for threatening. Oh, another question here coming in. How about Alex Kirilloff? This guy he's 2 for 22 so far. That actually could be your ticket. He's not doing well.
The good news is he's playing first base for them too. So he's going to get outfield and first base eligibility. And we always like players who qualify at 2. And this is a guy who, 3 years ago in the minors, hit over 30 home runs and was considered one of the top 10 to 15 prospects in baseball. So we know the talent and pedigree is there. If you can get him now, I picked him up in one of my leagues. It's a good pickup.
I think it's a great pickup, and snag him now while you can. And look, if he doesn't work out, you cut him 2 weeks later, especially in a redraft league. You want to look for upside like that. I like that pick. Okay, guys, let's move to pitchers. We've got starting pitchers coming up. And now let's keep in mind also, we tend to be a little bit heavy on the rotisserie side. But when you get to head-to-head, sometimes you're looking at 2 start guys who start twice. I picked up Jose Urquidy last week because he started twice. I did it the week before with Justice Sheffield. These were not like the top pitchers I wanted, but they were pitching twice, and that can go a long way in head-to-head leagues. Just wanted to make that point. Okay, Casey, we're going to start with you. 60% and under, starting pitcher.
Well, I'm going to mention him again, and that's Anthony DeSclafani.
He pitched great last night.
He pitched last night. Was it a complete game 3-hitter or 2 nights ago against Colorado?
Unbelievable.
He's been playing. San Francisco has some magic pitching serum that they give these guys. Gossman goes there, and suddenly he's living up to whatever the pedigree he had and the prospects he had. You got Aaron Sanchez, who's pitching really well there. Now DeSclafani is the newest one. So he's one I would pick up. And hey, he threw a 7-inning no-hitter the other day. He's only owned in 25% of the leagues, and that's Madison Baumgartner. He's another one who, with the right matchup, and maybe if it's every doubleheader, it's the way to go. But we know he knows how to pitch, so he's another one who can help your team if you're dealing with injuries or underperformance.
Let's just make a comment about that. He pitched a 7-inning no-hitter. Should he get credit for a no-hitter or not?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I think you can't.
When I watch a no-hitter, it's a 9th inning. We're all on pins and needles. It's exciting because those last 6 outs is the hardest outs.
I agree.
But 7 innings is a joke. It's like a men's softball league.
Devil's advocate, though,
does not count. Absolutely.
The win counts the same as a 9-inning win.
Okay, but let's
count.
A 9-inning no hitter is so much harder.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
You're not going to win this argument this time.
Did either of you hear what he did after the game, going up to the whatever for his press conference? He said, "I'm going to make 2 comments and then I'm going to go celebrate with my team." The first one was like, first, I want to thank Atlanta and the city of Atlanta for building a stadium with all these shadows. And second, I want to thank Rob Manfred for making all doubleheaders 7 innings. And then he left.
Right.
That's classic. That was a mic drop. Ross the boss would have dropped him.
Listen, I think baseball needs to make a change. If somebody's pitching a no-hitter into the 7th inning of a 7-inning game, you're playing 9 innings.
You're playing 9 innings. The 7 innings does not count. Let's move on.
We got to find out, though.
Very strong on this one, guys.
Okay, Ross, who else do you have starting pitching?
So we're talking about San Francisco. Johnny Cueto's coming back next week, Case.
I picked him up.
Great. My boy Dan had him. I think he still does.
No, I have him.
I have him in one league, I believe.
Okay. Johnny Cueto, another guy that I used to love when he pitched for Arizona. Now he's in Toronto. ERA under 3. He has 15 Ks in 16 innings. Remember Robbie Ray? Remember that guy's an inning burner. I mean, if you need a guy that pitch innings,
he can be a whip killer.
200 innings at least a year he used to pitch.
He'll strike out a lot of players.
But Robbie Ray's back. I mean, he's healthy. He looks great. So Robbie Ray, another guy, I don't usually like taking pitchers from this team for obvious reasons, the Colorado Rockies, but John Gray has been under ERA under 3. He has, how many wins does he have? He has 2 wins. He's playing great. John Gray.
I agree. John
Gray's like an all-star in my book. And then my last one, I saw him pitch last night, and he used to be an angel. I used to love watching him pitch. Then he got hurt, and he's pitching for the Red Sox now. Garrett Richards yesterday, 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, Casey. 10 strikeouts, no runs. I mean, his ERA is under 3. He's pitching great. Garrett Richards, just keep an eye on him, see what he's doing, but it could be a great pickup.
All right, what do we think of? Listen, Ross, I know what you think of T.J. Antone. You've been all over him. You were there first.
Oh God, I love that. Best spirit in baseball.
I told you so moment there. Yeah. But is he going to be a middle reliever? Is he going to end up closing? Is he going to start? What's happening with this guy?
I'm a big Reds fan, as you guys know, but our manager is the worst in baseball. Seriously, David Bell is the worst. He doesn't know what he's doing with the bullpen. I mean, he puts Amir Garrett out there, and the guy gets destroyed. So don't get me started. I don't know what you do with him. He's definitely the best pitcher in our staff. He went to TCU. He can start. He can relieve, middle relief. I don't know. I mean, if I was him, I would start him, but that's me.
Yeah, I think Dan would argue that Tony La Russa and what he's done to
oh my God,
to his pitching staff, and particularly Lucas Giolito the last couple of weeks, he would argue that that Tony La Russa is a worse manager.
No,
right
you
now.
don't understand. You don't understand. No.
What has Tony La Russa ever done? Oh wait, that was.
Oh wait.
Forget that. I forget I said that.
He is 76 years old, and no offense to Tony La Russa, but I think it's a young man's sport now. But that's me. I don't know if these old baseball guys can keep up with the young guys. But
to get back to the original question, TJ's, you have to own him. I mean,
I love him.
No matter what role he ends up in, if he ends up a middle reliever, he's going to fit into, Dan, your theory of you get 3 really good middle relievers and with good numbers, and it's like having another ace in your staff.
Well,
if he's the closer, he has the potential to be a lights out closer. And even if he can only go 5 or 6 innings a start because he's not fully stretched out, his numbers are video game.
I would start him, and I have an idea who should be the closer in Cincinnati if we keep going.
I think I totally agree with Casey. I think TJ Anton's going to have some good role. He's a little like Michael Kopech, except he has more of a chance to close.
Plus, his beard is 20. He has a great beard, guys. Look at his beard; it's unbelievable.
He does. I've been trying to catch up, but it
looks like a superhero.
Exactly. I don't know what superhero. Beard man. Okay, now listen. Mackenzie Gore, only 20% owned. The guy's going to be up within a month. You're not going to be able to get him in 2 weeks.
Whoa! Who gave you that information?
I gave it to me. I'm just thinking.
He just made that up. He's not coming up. He'll be
he
in
might.
the minors.
Dinelson Lamet is out for a while, and one more. Yu Darvish hasn't always been the most sturdy of starters, so there's a lot of potential.
How often does a great team like the Padres not bring up Mackenzie Gore in June? I'll tell you why. They want to get him some experience so that when it's time for the playoffs, that guy could come in and just be an innings killer, even as a long reliever.
Well,
he
remember
could be a part of a championship team.
Remember what the Rays did with David Price when they first brought him up? Wasn't he a closer in the World Series for crying out loud?
Yes, he was.
Vanderbilt. Yep. He absolutely.
So, these guys are top pickups, but let's talk about some starters also. You mean
relievers?
Well, no, we're going to go to relievers also, but we're talking about, interesting, we've talked about starters mostly that don't have a solid position. So, like Taiwan Walker, how good is he? I don't really know. I don't know how much to trust him. I would say you could pick him up and he would be a streaker if he's naked.
Certainly at home, because he's in a good pitcher's park. It's the National League, so there's a lot of potential there. And somebody to give Ross credit for, I think he said last week, was Brady Singer in Kansas City. Yep. He's still at 57%, so he's just under the 60% threshold. And his numbers are really good. And this is a guy who was highly touted coming out of the minors, so it's not like he's coming out of nowhere. So that's another really good pickup.
What do you guys think of Michael Fulmer? I'm not recommending these guys. I'm just wanting to kick around these names, and then we'll move to
inning burner, plays on a bad team, Detroit, and he's up and down. He's like the Angels have a pitcher named Haney. It's the same thing. Either he'll pitch great or he'll get destroyed.
Yep.
But
guys like that, maybe you pitch him in a good matchup, but the problem with pitching them in a good matchup is that's when you get killed because that's when you started them. Yeah. All right, let's go to relief pitchers. Closers drive us crazy all the time, but we're not only going to talk about closers. There could be some middle relief guys that are just outstanding. Casey, you got us started on your top relief pitchers, 60% and under.
I'll go with one of your guys, and that's Rafael Dolis in Toronto. He's gotten a couple saves, I believe, hasn't he, in the last couple weeks?
Yes.
So they're not beholden to any one of their many relievers in the absence of. I'm blanking on who got hurt.
Jordan Romano is back. Jordan Romano is
back. He's back, but he didn't pitch well.
But he's not pitching great.
I know he's not. Yates is out for the year. You're thinking about Kirby Yates is out for the year.
Yates is who I was thinking of.
He's out for the year.
Dolis is the guy to own right now in the Toronto bullpen. Yep. He's putting up, he's not a strikeout guy, but his whip is under 0.5 for crying out loud. And he's got a win and 2 saves in the last 2 weeks. So I don't have a higher pickup than that on the
okay. Well, I might cheat a little bit, but then I'll give you a real one. The cheating one is Taylor Rogers is 62% owned, but Alex Colomé is getting destroyed. So I just want to say, jump on that. But listen, you got plenty of guys like Kendall Graven. He's only owned in 48% of the league. Would I pick up Kendall Graven before Taylor Rogers? I would. I absolutely would, because Graven has the job. I'm just saying, speculate on Rogers. Greg Holland also back, seems to have the role. I think that's a solid pickup. Question, do you guys think we should be holding Trevor Rosenthal? I'm only asking for a friend.
No, he hasn't, Casey. Don't give him any information. No, I would drop him if I was you. I don't think he'll be coming back anytime. You have him in IR anyway. You're not going to drop him. Come on.
And even if he comes back, do you think he's going to take the job from Lou Trevino? Who's been pitching lights out?
I think he will, yes.
I think he actually will because of the big contract.
Yes. If you drop him, I'm picking him up, so drop him.
Okay, but I really do think a big contract sometimes helps these players out their value, because the A's are thinking, what am I paying him to pitch in the 8th inning? No, I'm not. Now, people thinking outside of the box all the time, but I think he comes back and gets it. Meanwhile, Daniel Bard, not pitching well,
but he's still got the job.
He's still got the job. I like Dolis, and I do hope that he holds on to that. There's tons of guys here, though. Gallegos, Soria. Let's talk about Soria. Do we think he's going to take the job back in Arizona? I hope not. I own the entire bullpen besides him.
I love it. I think he will get the job back. I think that was his job. I think he'll get this job back. Yes, that's the answer.
All right.
I'm not sure. I mean, Soria, I'm not sure what his velocity is at anymore, but it seems like in closers, you want the guy who throws the hardest coming out. And Soria is more of a finesse guy. I don't trust finesse guys as much as closers, but, Arizona's a one big crapshoot anywho.
Nice. A Ned Ryerson reference. Also, Josh Stallmont in Kansas City. It's funny because I recommended Holland, but I would, if I was a Holland owner, I'd grab Stallmont.
And Jesse Hahn, before he went on the IL, was getting some of those leverage situations too. So when he comes back, that's going to murky up those waters a little bit more.
It's true. Now,
and I also have a few too after you're done with your long list.
Go ahead. And yeah, I could filibuster you if I want.
You're unbelievable. I'm sitting here like, when you're going to name every reliever, and I'm sitting here like, you just named everybody. So as you guys know, I mentioned Amir Garrett has lost his job officially in Cincinnati. I was sitting at home watching the Reds-Dodger game, rooting for my Cincinnati Reds. 9th inning comes around. Guess who comes in? Dr. Doolittle. Doolittle came in, got the save. He looked great. 3 straight outs. Seager, Turner, unbelievable. Struck those guys out. Doolittle could be his job. It could be a good pickup for you. Another guy he's a reliever, but he does start. And this guy, his whip's under 2. It's under 0.5 something. And his ERA is 0. Yeah, 0.0 is his ERA. It's like Casey's GPA in college, 0.0. Is Ryan Weathers of the San Diego Padres. And I love guys who pitch in that stadium. You know why? Because the ball doesn't travel out of the stadium. It's the hardest place to hit home runs. It's unbelievable. It's hard. It's fat. It's just horrible place for hitters to hit. So, and Tatis hits there. And another guy that got his 3rd save yesterday for the Detroit Tigers is Soto. Not Mario Soto, Gregory Soto. He looked great. I don't know what's going on in that bullpen, though. I don't trust the manager that much in Detroit. I forgot his name. But, again, Soto has 3 saves. You just got to be aware of it.
I just know the manager in Detroit is not David Bell.
It's A.J. Hinch, by the way.
Oh, yeah, A.J. Hinch, correct.
One more guy who's, again, found the magic serum or elixir in San Francisco is Alex Wood. He's been pitching lights out the last few weeks for them. And so he's always had good stuff. Call. The question was command for him. So if he's keeping his command and his whip is at 0.5 the last 2 weeks, he's a guy who can carry you weeks at a time.
Okay, now we're going to wrap up here, but I want to say, we do this waiver wire once a week, but we're all over this the whole week. If you want to reach out to us and let us know your questions, you go ahead. And by the way, I want to give a shout out. Montana Giffen said hi on Instagram, gave a little wave.
Hey, Montana.
Giving a wave back. Party Marty said Blue Jays all the way. And we talked about Rafael Dolis. That was for you.
To the bone.
It also was because we were talking about the pitchers we should have been. In any case, reach out to us anytime. We've got lots of ideas who to pick up. We love baseball, and we were happy to talk with you about it. Come back next week, same time. It is 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific. We look forward to seeing you then. If you haven't already, click subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, hit like if you like what you're hearing, and put your comments below, and we'll get back to you personally.
We're gonna set the internet on